If you're in the Northeast US, you probably see some little yellow weeds on your lawn now and then, and it's almost certainly dandelions. And they're hard to entirely get rid of, but they can be managed. And there's like one here, and they're usually not that bad. You can pick them out manually with a trowel or a weed remover, something that kind of goes in there and rips those weeds out of the lawn. And sometimes you don't even have to bend down to get them out if you have the right tool. But the point is, they can be managed, even if it's hard to get rid of them all. There's another weed that's much, much worse, and that's this over here. Also yellow, will also infect your lawn. This one's called lesser celandine, and this one has been popping up all over the Northeast. I had never seen it before a couple years ago. Now it's gotten quite bad in many areas. So here it is. You can see it has yellow flowers. It's a type of buttercup, or at least it looks like a buttercup. And it doesn't seem that bad at first, but then it is actually super invasive and pretty much impossible from what I've seen to get rid of. You can't pull it up. No matter how hard you try, you will not get that up. And then you could see you got a really tight root ball, and it has these little tubers in it, which are really hard to get rid of. So it can't be pulled, and these tubers stay in the ground, and if you leave any of these behind, they will just go ahead and sprout again next year. So these things are super invasive, and they are really hard to get rid of, because if you rip the plant out, the tubers stay in the ground and they will come back next year. Plus, they will spread and spread and spread and really infect your lawn. The crazy thing about lesser celandine is just how invasive it is. You'll go from normal lawn, and then in 2-3 years, you could have full patches like this where it is just infected all over the place. It's not just spreading with those bulbs, but it's also spreading on its own. So you might walk through it, you might drive your quad through it, you might get a lawn tractor and roll over it, and it could spread really quickly from year to year with an entire property, and then from property to property. It gets really out of hand. And then if you have part of your lawn that doesn't have good grass coverage, there's not a lot of competition, it can get really crazy. You could just take over full patches, especially if it's the right conditions like you might find in the Northeast US. At this point, it is nearly impossible to get rid of. You can get into some nasty weed killers, but at that point, you're using, from what I've heard, multiple years of treatment and having to use some pretty nasty stuff to get rid of it. You can see that root ball, quite robust. And again, this isn't that old, just a year or two in this area. And you have those tubers are all over the place. So just knocking it around like this, I'm getting tubers all over the place. And then you cannot compost these, so those tubers will thrive in your compost. They will also stay dormant for years from what I've read, and they will just come back. So you really either need to burn these or you need to just throw them out, which means lots and lots of wasted dirt. This is some nasty stuff. So what you want to do is, if you see it in your lawn, get rid of it quickly. You'll be able to recognize lesser celandine because it'll be one of the first things sprouting in your lawn. In the Northeast, you'll start seeing this stuff in kind of like mid-March, and it'll flower through probably around late April. Then it'll start to kind of die back. Problem is, it'll get really deep into not just your lawn, but also your plants. Like here it is in a tall ornamental grass. It won't really hurt the grass that bad, but it means this patch will basically be impossible to get rid of unless you're going ahead and destroy the grass, which I definitely don't want to do. This stuff is really deeply in there, and it's basically impossible to get rid of because those little potato things, those tubers, are deep in the grass root ball, and to get them out, I would basically have to kill the grass, which is really unfortunate. So yeah, this stuff is super nasty, super aggressive, And unless you're going to use some very harsh chemicals for multiple years on end, it's really hard to get rid of, if not impossible to get rid of. So my only advice is to isolate it when you see it, recognize the buttercup and that flat leaf, and really be aggressive about pulling it out. And don't compost it like I did. You're going to want to get it in the garbage can, bag it up, and get rid of it. Good luck.